Okay, we're live. Thank you everyone for joining us. Here I'm joined by Mikail the Stray Cat, and today we're going to be responding to pretty much obviously like Kyle Kulinski, who himself is talking about the Biden's billionaire tax proposal. It's kind of an old proposal. I'm pretty sure Manchin, according to Kyle, just took it out of the board, and I kind of predicted it back when I was making my own video based on the policy. Actually we're using a little bit of stuff based on that video I did. I guess you check it out. But before we continue on, I'm joined by Mikail here again. So Mikail, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, fine. I mean, maybe a tad bit broken hearted, but I'll maybe talk about that to you in private, maybe.
Question. Are you finished with your exams by any chance?
Other than the assignment on Monday, my exams are in a month, so.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, but I guess whatever you're gonna ask me based on my exam stuff, I guess we can talk about after we're done with the stream.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm just going to
get into this.
I'm just going to first I'm just gonna copy the link and paste it on Twitter. Okay, Twitter. That's where I get maybe a few of my. I'll leave you. It's take time. I want to do this kind of quickly, so it's gonna be pretty fast. Hopefully we can finish it in time. So I guess I'll kind of explain the billionaire tax and over time, but yeah. Oh, and also, if you didn't notice, I titled this as Kyle Kulinski SIMPS for Biden's billionaire tax.
Oh boy. Did you give me just a moment?
Do you have any internet problems?
Oh, I'm just gonna share out the link to a few groups of my friends just so that they know that we're live.
Okay. Should I resume?
Just stand by.
Okay.
Just stand by. This won't take long. I know what I want. Direct message. There you are. Okay, there we go. And we're good.
All right. Okay.
I was just sharing out the link.
All right, thanks.
So there was a billionaire tax that was proposed by Biden as part of his budget. Now, he's framing it as, well, we're doing this for deficit reduction. I think that's debatable whether or not, deficit reduction should be the focus. It's that neoliberal framing of giving into the conservatives. And by the way, when Republicans are in office,
that sounds like a base framing, but anyway.
They never give a shit about the deficit. They never reduce it. They always increase it. So they stand drunken sailors and then turn around and be look at this deficit. Democrats, you should do something about that. And
yeah, I think that's kind of a fair criticism of Republicans, but I'd say I think the problem with Republicans is they don't know how to properly reduce the deficit, because from the stats, I hate to say this, but the Democrats seem to be much better at deficit reduction. I don't know, but luckily it's I think so far it's mostly due to Clinton's economic stuff, which it was a mixture of high taxes and low spending. So that was the only time they met. And I don't know, I guess Democrats were also often elected in times of crises or economic crises, while Republicans are elected in economically good times. But even then, the economy isn't that easy to manipulate by either Republicans or Democrats. It's a whole other thing.
Yeah, and to be fair, the spending on the war machine that definitely doesn't help.
yeah, Republicans do like to spend on that. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, oh yeah, the thing is like Social Security and like the Medicare and Medicaid stuff. That would be like more the Democrats' forte, and like they both like exceed like military expenditure, but like the Republicans aren't willing to cut. I mean, like even if they cut it, they won't cut it a substantial amount or like privatize it and such. So like they're not willing to like cut the social programs, but they're willing to do lower taxes. Like they do low taxes, but they don't do low spending, and that's a problem.
Yes, it's a spending problem.
And the problem is that there isn't enough political will. Like you can be a dictator and it won't matter because America is a constitutional republic. It's kind of a democracy, and like if the people, don't want it, like these are very popular programs. Like it's not going to work. Like no matter what you are like, no matter who you elect, but
to embrace austerity, which in turn makes them less popular, which then gets Republicans back in power. But this is an instance of Biden's like, oh, okay, you want me to care?
They embrace austerity due to things like the financial crisis and also due to high effing debt. Like actually, like a while ago, like Kyle was talking about like we should raise the debt ceiling. And when I say a while ago, I mean like maybe back in 2012 or something, a really long time. But like apparently, like when they did raise the debt ceiling, apparently the government bonds were like had like lower like ratings and such. So basically, the quality of like government bonds, which are needed for like borrowing, like the government basically has less future borrowing power, which is why like they didn't want to like raise the debt ceiling. I don't want to explain the debt ceiling like too much, but like the whole other thing. Maybe I'll make a video on it and maybe a kind of a video response to like Kyle. But the problem is that was such an old video that Kyle did that like I don't know if I can find it, but like yeah. Anyway, like let's continue on.
That's it. Fine. Well, let's raise taxes on the rich. So at least he's coming at it from that perspective.
Like the nebulous raise taxes on the rich.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually,
this is good.
Actually, we'll kind of explain the mechanics of the billionaire tax. Even maybe I'll play a video of me explaining the whole thing as well. But yeah.
Effective as opposed to let's embrace much more austerity. He's not doing anything in terms of social spending and increasing it, but at least raising tax on the wealthy is a better way if you're going to.
Well, relative to Kyle, like Kyle's like maybe a social democrat, like maybe a socialist, like and he wasn't a socialist before, but like I don't know, he's been like going into some like really weird like corners. I haven't like been like keeping up with him for like a while, so I can't like say, but like yeah, the social democracies are very like economically far left, like Biden's a social liberal, like he's not a neoliberal. Like a social liberal is like the guys in the conservative. Social liberals are the real international centrists, not social democrats, by the way. Like, because but anyway, okay. What I'm trying to say is Biden is also for significant social spending, a little too much, if I may add.
Tackle the deficit. To do that. So he releases this new billionaire tax. Let me give you some of the information on it. So first, we'll go to the CNBC article here. President Joe Biden to propose new 20% minimum billionaire tax.
I think the funny thing is that this billionaire tax applies to millionaires, ironically. Yes, actually it says right here.
That's like point number one right there.
Yes, households worth more than $100 million. Like, you gotta love politicians and their framing. Like, you
billionaire minimum income tax would assess a 20% minimum tax rate on U.S. households with more than $100 million. Over half the revenue could come from those worth more than $1 billion.
Okay, hold on. Go back just a hair. I want to go back to the top. Okay, literally the first point of this. The billionaire minimum income tax would assess a 20% minimum tax rate on U.S. households worth more than $100 million.
Yeah.
Worth more. Okay.
Yeah, not disposable income.
Question: are we talking liquid assets, or are we talking, I don't know, stocks? Are we talking holdings? Are we talking, I don't know, businesses? What are we talking about here?
Oh, that the business point is so funny. Like, we'd actually like talk about this more in the European wealth taxes video. Which, sorry that to like my audience that we aren't able to like release it yet. It's just like I've been extremely like, but like we should be like done by next week. Like we're nearly finished. It's just time. Like it just who has the time these days?
Time and coordination. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
anyway,
on the
I
business,
just wanted to point that out because that is literally the first point of this article. It's literally the first bulletin point.
Yeah,
and
there
it
are
begs
also
so many questions just in and of itself.
Yeah, there are like business actually, I think we'll get to the small business point like later on. It's a very good point.
$1 million. Over half the revenue could come from those worth more than $1 billion. So they say President Joe Biden is expected to propose a new minimum tax that would largely target billionaires when he unveils his 2023 budget, according to a document obtained by CNBC called the Billionaire Minimum Tax. It would assess a 20% minimum tax rate on U.S. households worth more than $100 million. Over half the revenue would come from those worth more than $1 billion. Quote, this minimum tax would make sure that the wealthiest Americans no longer pay a tax rate lower than teachers and firefighters, the document said.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
this is in reference
where
to...
are they getting this from? I'd really like to know. Where are they getting this from?
Oh, what you mean?
Americans that the wealthiest Americans no longer pay a tax rate lower than teachers and firefighters. Okay, yeah, where are you getting this from, dude?
I mean, I think it's I think they're talking about how the wealthy often disproportionately pay capital gains rates, which is 8%, while the teachers and firefighters are applied an income tax, which actually kind of sucks. My response to that would be to lower the income taxes to 8%. Although I think you would like this, but I'm starting to look into maybe abolishing income taxes. However, I want more indirect taxes in substitute of that, but it's a whole other thing.
Okay,
let's see.
That could be something to discuss.
Yeah, and what else was I trying to say? What was I to think? I was trying to say something else. Oh yes. Sure. They're when they say teachers and fighters, they mean middle class, but how much of my video did you see, if anything at all? Because I
Which
actually
video?
said, the old video for prep. You didn't have to see it if you.
I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, yeah. So there's. Okay, so let's see. So your lovely Rick Scott face right there, and lovely Joe Biden face.
That's awesome.
Okay, all right. So basically, in 2019, 44% of Americans didn't pay any federal income taxes, as explained by the Nonpartisan Tax Policy Center, while 57% of Americans didn't pay in 2020, either 2021 or 2020. That depends on when this article was, because it says last year. I assume 2021, because I made this video in 2020. This year.
The spike compared to years prior was largely due to emergency federal aid, like the expanded child tax credit and stimulus checks.
That explains. Yeah, that explains the 13% difference. But even then, before, it was still 44%, because let's see, it's due to a group of people that don't earn enough to file the taxes, or they receive tax credits that offset their federal tax obligations, or it's because they are seniors who are retired and
realistically, it's not that they didn't pay; it's that they got their money back. That's in one form or another. That's basically what happened. Is that what I'm understanding?
44%. Yeah, that's 44%. While also, there's the silver. We're gonna assume 2019 normal times rather than post pandemic, for a fair comparison. And also 56%. So what federally speaking, this will apply to 56, the top 56%, and which isn't. So already it'll be the top three middle, the top three quantile. This
so basically you're talking about upper middle class, lower high class, and really really wealthy people. Basically, is what we're talking about here.
Upper class, upper middle class, and middle class. It's the middle class and upper middle class that will probably get screwed, but the upper classes.
Oh, absolutely! It always works out that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I really hate to say it. Please, someone prove me wrong, but it's always the middle class that gets screwed.
Yeah, because yeah, like the lower class don't contribute much to taxes, or if any at all. Although there is an argument like that maybe they're taxed on the state level more, like so that'll depend. So it really
That would
varies on
depend
the
on
state.
various different factors, but yeah, you could make the argument there in some cases. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess federally will apply more to America, which is more of a fair comparison. Yeah, so let's continue on with the
Yep.
video.
Carrying on.
The proposed levy is expected to reduce the deficit by about $360 billion in the next decade. According to the document, if a wealthy household is already paying 20% on their full income, they won't pay additional tax.
1.25 speed. I guess I'll lower it a bit because he seems to be speaking much faster. Yeah,
the proposed levy is expected to reduce the deficit by about $360 billion in the next decade. According to the document, if a wealthy household is already paying 20% on their full income, they won't pay an additional tax under the proposal.
Yeah, so it's what is it? Not an aggregate. It's like an effective 20% tax. Like if you're paying like an effective rate of 14%, then government will try and get that like 6% remaining somewhere from your remaining wealth. Like
if they pay less than 20%, they'll owe a top-up payment to
that's the top-up payment. Like in my example, 6% would be the top-up payment.
meet the new minimum.
Right.
As a result, this new minimum tax will eliminate the ability for the unrealized income of ultra-high net worth households to go untaxed for decades or generations, the document said.
Yeah, unrealized income, by the way, that's a problem with like wealth taxes.
Yes.
Itself.
What does that mean? Unrealized income. So income that they never actually get, because what does that mean?
It's unguaranteed income, and like not only unguaranteed, but like unlikely to be converted to like liquid. Oh yeah, the unrealized income. That's basically when like the wealth.
Yeah. In other words, unlikely to ever be money in their pockets.
Yeah, the subjective value of the wealth increases from like year to year, but like that's the part that's going to be taxed. The difference in the rise in the wealth, that's going to be taxed even if you don't get any like disposable liquid money from that, and like you have to pay on that even if you don't get.
Why would any of these rich people? Let's say that they got rich because they own like businesses and stuff. Why would they bother reinvesting into their businesses? Why would they keep expanding? Which that doesn't sound like a good idea.
Like yeah, like and like business wealth. The value of businesses, that's what contributes to like the net worth of people like Jeff Bezos as well. Like so like whenever people see like net worth, they see it almost as like liquid money, disposable income, which is just like
it's simply not true.
So
that's not what it is.
Yeah. Actually, like the small business point, like a small business could not be generating money, but it employs people and creates goods and services. And the value of those employees, the value of those goods and services, that contributes to the value of those businesses. So that value of the businesses, that doesn't necessarily, that the entire value of that small business or the business, that doesn't necessarily solely benefit, the billionaire. Like the profits, sure, but like, like that's not like the business value. Like, and the profits are going to be much less than the business value.
So Biden explained in his speech on this, as he was announcing this and other things, that apparently the average tax rate is 8% for billionaires. So to have the 20% minimum threshold.
Okay, where are you getting that from?
I think it's mostly like the capital gains rate.
Okay, so what about their actual income tax bracket? Are we even looking at that, Kyle? I'm just curious.
More
because I'm pretty sure it's more than that.
Well, actually, there's tax deductions which or that they can avoid, which Kyle mentions, but I'm like,
yes,
okay.
and there are plenty of different ways, to. Okay, he goes on to say that he talks about various different tax loopholes. Well, there's a couple problems with this argument. One, who wrote those laws? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't it wasn't Jeff Bezos who wrote the laws. So there's that.
Yeah.
And second, this actually goes back to what I was talking about before. It ends up being the middle and upper middle class, more than anyone that's going to end up getting screwed by this new federal policy, along with any federal tax policy for that matter, simply because they don't have the resources available to hire the lawyers that they need to go through the thousands and thousands of pages of documents in order to find the loopholes to use.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he mentions this as well, but I think like does Kyle not understand the irony? But like, yeah, let's continue on.
This sort of reminds me of what's called the alternative minimum tax, which it's a similar idea behind that, but this obviously is more targeted to billionaires.
Alternative minimum tax, a tax of 0. How's that? I like that tax. How's that for an alternative?
Yeah, like I'm in the script. I'm basically going to include how you say that that taxation is theft, and like I just don't respond because.
So let's go ahead and take a look here at courts, and because they break down what certain billionaires would pay. Let's go through some of these here. So Elon Musk, he has wealth of 256 billion, wealth in stocks of 200 and what is that, 50 or 60? I'm not. It's a little small. And 250 billion. Estimated taxable gains 250 billion. The tax owed by Elon under this system would be 50 billion. Then you have Jeff Bezos, 190 billion. Stocks 100.
Wait, what?
Okay, do we see the glaring problem here with literally line 1 of this breakdown?
Like actually, yeah, that's
256 billion is his estimated wealth. Wealth in stocks is 250. That leaves him with 6. Yet you're saying he would owe 50 billion, like pay up? Like how? What are you talking about? The only way he'd be able to do that is to end up liquidating a crap ton of stocks. Which guess what? That's going to have an impact on the entire market. What are we doing here?
And also like liquidating a mass amount of his stocks would pretty much, like lower the value of those stocks as well. Like
Exactly.
so Musk may not even be able to like pay that anyway. Like Freedom Tunes did a video on like this but with Jeff Bezos example, but then like
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, but then a girl called Denims responded to it and said, "We aren't actually doing that. We're just going asking for like a 6% like wealth tax." But yeah, I'm gonna try and like respond to that because like the like Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax. Like me doing the European wealth taxes, that would be a big setup and like some research for like Elizabeth Warren's like wealth tax. And I actually talk about that at the end where I basically explain to like you because you're in the video that. Like this is kind of a setup to me, like analyzing like Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax, and that like analysis of Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax would also be a setup to me responding to Dennis' video since she mentions like Elizabeth Warren's like wealth tax. Denims is like a streamer. Have you heard of Denims? I don't think you have.
I can't say that I have.
Yeah, but she's a Twitch streamer, so I have a lower opinion of
Twitch, which would explain why I haven't heard of her.
Same here. Like I have a very low opinion of Twitch streamers as someone who like edits more. I prefer editing and like thinking of rather than streaming. Although me live streaming now like is very contradictory. Like to me, I'm like contradicting like what I'm saying right now. But you know what I mean.
No, I get it. Personally, I have no opinion, positive or negative, of Twitch streamers. I just really don't know enough about Twitch itself to make a judgment call. But that's
yeah, that's fine.
174 billion. Estimated taxable gains 174 billion. The tax owed is 35 billion. Bill Gates 133 billion. Wealth in stock 76 billion. Estimated taxable gains 54 billion. He would pay 11 billion. Warren Buffett has wealth of 130 billion. He would pay 26 billion. And then let's skip down to the bottom.
Recurring theme throughout this entire chart. I'm seeing a recurring theme happening. Wealth, or at least what they estimate the person's wealth to be. And then literally the next column, wealth in stocks, as in various different holdings. As in
like
liquid money.
Yeah.
Kyle, could we please like maybe make mention of that?
Yeah. Yeah, actually we need if we can like figure out like how like them selling that's all all right, so since you said it yourself, which wait, they said estimatable taxable gains. Okay, that's equivalent to like the wealth from stock since it the 6 billion wealth. They keep. I guess Musk can't use that $6 billion in wealth since effing hell tax owed $50 billion. If we can figure out how much them like selling, say Elon Musk selling like $50 billion of stocks, his wealth of stocks, which is 20%, like how much that would lower the value of his stocks, like just then like how is he?
It wouldn't help. I'll say that.
Yeah, like I want to know the rough number like of how much like the wealth will like fall by, like if
And
like,
then there's another thing. Consider the ripple effect in the entire market. That doing this, not just Musk, but basically everyone listed here would end up having to do that. Think of the ripple effect throughout the market that this would cause. Like, my God, that sounds like a great way to end up wrecking the economy.
yeah, that seemed like a whole other video idea, but like yeah, like, I guess I'll try and like look into like the whole like selling like stocks of like wealth in stocks in mass. But yeah, let's continue on.
There, where you see Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg, 84.
Forgive me. I'll be right back. Carry on without me for just a minute.
All right, so continue on the video. Okay, then.
Yeah. Continue on. Give your own commentary. I'll be right back.
All right, thanks. All right.
He would pay $16 billion under this. Jim Walton has $65 billion. He would pay $7 billion under this. And then you see the bottom there. It says Biden's proposed tax would apply to just 0.01% of the wealthiest U.S. households and raise an estimated $361 billion in revenue by 2032. Okay.
Yeah, like it's very unlikely that like the revenue will be like generated like that well. Yeah, I've actually done like a video on this. Yeah, I said that before. So let's see. Opponent said like it's like this already has constitutional like challenges. Like where is it? Okay, the billionaire tax. One representative said that like there's this. He stressed the challenges of taxing unrealized gains. I really don't think the proposal is going anywhere. He added, like, let's see, there's this. Okay, like, so yeah, the levy would face like legal challenges according to some policy experts, and the overburdened IRS may have struggled to enforce the law. Okay, there is an argument that there needs to be more funding for the IRS. Let's see. So the proposal is problematic on many fronts, said Robbie B. Sawyers, a professor of accounting. It would be administratively difficult to enforce and the compliance nightmare for high wealth individuals with illiquid, non-tradable assets. Ooh, I need to get like Mikail to see this because like I'm not as strong on stocks. Like I'm. Moreover, the proposal would also surely raise constitutional issues as well. Yeah, and also mention already rented base dimension.
Okay. So now this is a good idea. You could argue, hey, maybe it's not aggressive enough.
But actually, like, yeah, the 360 billion. Me and Mikail talked about it. How majority of like say Elon Musk's wealth is in stocks, and if he has 250 billion, if he has to pay like that 50 billion like in tax, then like he has to like sell those stocks, and that could already like significantly lower the value of those stocks in the first place, and like he has to liquidate that those assets, and with that the problem is apparently according to Mikail it will massively affect the market, which actually makes sense. Elon is the richest man, like Tesla, like significant.
They should go further. There was some debate originally is he talking about the 20% minimum on income, or is he talking about 20% minimum on like net worth, or what is it? And remember, the system that we have now, there was a lot of reporting on this after the Trump tax cut bill passed, and I think it was 2017. Now you have billionaires effectively pay a lower tax rate than working class people.
Oh, nice. Yeah, actually, I wanted to like show you like this like part of my video. Okay, so yeah, look at the accountancy paragraph, Journal of Accountancy. The proposal is problematic on many fronts, said Robbie B. Sawyers. It would be administratively difficult to enforce and a compliance nightmare for high worth individuals with illiquid, non-tradable assets.
Thank God someone's making note of this.
Yeah, a liquid, non-tradable asset. So, like, I'm pretty sure that doesn't refer to stocks, right?
Yeah, I don't think that refers to stocks. Stocks can be traded, sold, whatever.
Okay, so Elon's kind of safe on that. I mean, he's still gonna get hurt, but like, considering the vast majority of his wealth is in stocks. I guess he'll be a bit more fine than the others, but
see, once again, just on the face of this sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Okay. We saw the chart with all of these rich people's holdings in stocks, right? Okay.
Yeah.
What are stocks? Let's think about this for a second. What is stock? It's ownership of a company, right?
Well, that's
it's investment in a company, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Either like that's what a stock is, or stock is a type of thing. Like the shares. Like there's also like other financial like instruments, but like I know a stock is a type of financial instrument, but I forgot it. Yeah. Stock is ownership in a company. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's investment into company X, Y, or Z, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a question. The government let's say they go through with this, and the government forces these people to liquidate a veritable crap ton of their stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which we already discussed. That's going to really hurt the value of those stocks and thus the value of those companies. Here's a question. How many jobs do all those companies make for other people? How is this going to impact them? Because methinks this is not going to end well for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, maybe we should like look into the idea of whether or not a wealth tax could hurt jobs. But yeah.
Yes, it would be worth looking at.
Billionaires effectively pay a lower tax rate than working class people. So not only do we not have, we've
gone through this before, where I guess I'll go through this again, but in case some people missed it, and this will be a direct reply to Carl's point. Where is it? I think Rick Scott he proposed a stupid tax plan. Maybe I'll talk about that later. So last year 50% of Americans didn't pay federal income taxes, and in 2019 in normal times the figure was around 44%, and that's because they either didn't earn enough to pay it, they had tax credits to lower or offset what their federal tax obligations.
In other words,
or
it's not that they didn't pay, it's that they got their money back.
Yeah. Also, or they were seniors who retired and probably get social security and stuff. Yeah, and so already when you cut out 44%, that is what's Kyle is referring to is the top 56%, which is the middle, the maybe three the top three quintiles, the upper class, the upper middle class, and the middle class. So sure, the middle class are screwed, but the working class, the bottom two working classes, they aren't. The lower middle class and the working class aren't screwed, unless you're talking about state taxes. But yeah, and also if you want, you could maybe lower income taxes and corporate taxes to 8%, since capital gains taxes are also 8%. Food for thought. Since that's where Musk is gaining a majority of his income. Stocks.
Don't really have a progressive tax system in the country. In many ways, we have a regressive tax system. So a
kind of progressive, kind of regressive, because as I explained before, the bottom two quintiles aren't paying much or any tax. But the middle class, they're the ones that are getting screwed the most. It's kind of funny and sad, but
for the middle class, you actually are paying more than the ultra wealthy. And then of course they have all these loopholes and deductions, and they have an army of tax lawyers and experts.
Who wrote those loopholes into the laws? Because I'm
pretty sure Jeff Bezos. I'm pretty sure those same rich people are going to use those loopholes and accountants and lawyers and whatnot to avoid those wealth taxes. And especially they're going to levy for more exemptions, which that's what they did in Europe. And there's going to be a whole thing where there's, I mean, Elizabeth Warren has an argument. I'll respond to it. I'm actually going to respond to the Young Turks about the whole exemption and stuff. It's a whole thing. And also the wealth taxes are wealth is hard to value, which
to search for, legal ways or questionable ways to hide the money and dodge the taxes. We talked about the strategy Elon Musk used was it's called buy, borrow, die. I believe that's what they call it. And the whole idea is
I'd love
you
to
don't
know
really
where he's
take
getting this from.
He probably has it somewhere, but
company, you borrow against your stock. And so since you're just borrowing money against your stock, you don't have to pay any taxes. So, and any bank would loan to him because he's Elon Musk and he's got a tremendous amount of money. And then eventually when it's passed on, that's why it's buy, borrow, die. It doesn't get taxed nearly as much as if you were to actually pay his taxes. So there are plenty of billionaires, plenty of corporations that literally pay nothing in taxes. There was that big, ProPublica piece that came out a while ago, which explained the quote unquote true tax rate of what billionaires are paying. And some pay 0, some pay 1%, some pay 5%. And again, compare that to working people and what they go through. And, everybody, you're paying your taxes like a sucker. And these guys are getting away with not paying anything at all or paying very, very little. And so this is an attempt to reverse that. Look, you guys know my take on this stuff. I would use all the above approach when it comes to this stuff. I want to raise corporate taxes. I want to raise the top marginal income.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very Nordic. But anyway,
My God. So basically, Kyle is saying that he would, if it were up to him, the robber barons would have more robber barons. That's basically what I'm hearing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Way to
Come
go.
tax.
Wait, what did he say?
I would use all the above approach when it comes to this stuff. I want to raise corporate taxes. I want to raise the top marginal income tax rate.
Okay, top marginal. Okay, if he said income taxes in general, then that may have
more of people's money.
Yeah, which we kind of do that pre-Trump's tax cut, we had kind of high corporate tax rates. It was 35%, and it made America very uncompetitive. It was higher than the Nordic states, so it's only lower now because I don't know, the Nordic countries, I think maybe they average maybe early 20s, maybe 24%, which isn't that much more than the 21% of the corporate tax rate. Although the centrist Lehman, he's for abolishing income and corporate taxes.
Yeah, you had mentioned that, and okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally for that.
Yeah. Base centrist.
One less set of people's money being stolen from them. I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
I do a tax net worth, and I don't think, as long as you're talking about, hey, you want to keep access to the U.S. market, okay, well then you're gonna have to pay these taxes. As long as you do that, there's not gonna be any capital flight.
Okay, I'm sorry, but you've heard of India and China. In the short term, sure, people want access to the U.S. market, and long term, it'd still probably be decent.
What
but
the hell is he smoking?
But
what the hell is Kyle smoking?
The America isn't the sole economic superpower anymore. There's South Korea, Japan, Germany, the Nordic countries, in the EU, there are options. Sure, they're more economically left wing, and in some ways, and that's America's strength, is that they're more in some areas are more free market oriented to the free market better. While in some countries in certain other areas are better in being economically free, such as Norway, the Nordic countries generally not having a minimum wage. They have maybe minimum wage for certain sectors, but they don't have a full on national minimum wage, which
Yes, several of the Nordic states don't even have a federal minimum wage at all.
Yeah. So sure, you can do this in the short term, but eventually long term, this if you keep pulling this stuff, then America is not going to be as good of a place to invest. Luckily, the Republicans and a lot of moderate Democrats aren't going to let that happen. But the Republicans.
It's like I said, this
could
sounds
do
like
so
a
much
wonderful
better.
recipe for wrecking the economy.
Yeah.
And even if there is some capital flight, it'd be negligible.
Negligible, you say?
Okay.
Really? Tell that to
like-
all of the poor, working class, and lower middle class people that you claim you're trying to help, who will end up not having a job.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I think Kyle is in a way like right because you know the like they're like the Democrats aren't like stupid. They're going to enact a lot of exemptions for these wealth taxes, just like in like Europe, and like the you know the like a lot of like the wealthy leaving like France. They were high profile cases, but it wasn't. We don't know whether or not that was actually attributable to the wealth tax. But the thing is, with these like exemptions, like it made like the wealth tax a bit more like bearable, and that like if and like the and that hurt like tax revenue. So if like Carl doesn't want any capital flight, he will have to like be okay with a ton of exemptions, which will mean that you're not going to get that
Yes, he's
360
going to have to be
billion.
okay with a ton of exemptions, a ton of loopholes, which brings us right back to what we were talking about before. If you're mad at rich people for hiring lawyers to go through all of the paperwork and find all the loopholes written into the laws by the people who wrote the laws, well, guess what? Guess what? If you're okay with that, then you're okay with the middle class getting screwed even harder. That's what you're telling me, Kyle.
Yeah.
It would be enough where somebody else is going to come in and fill the gap because they want access to the U.S. market.
I mean, like those people are also going to be a bit more discouraged.
Yes. If anything, this will discourage investment in the market.
Yeah, but I know but I know politicians are. I wouldn't say slippery, but like they're kind of smart, and they know that like the wealth taxes cost. Like if they implement this, then they'll try and they probably like implement some free market policy to like partially offset like the wealth tax. They'll do something either like the exemptions or like something else. It's
Well, they will. The real question is simply, what companies will end up being the winners and losers that government picks when they're making said laws? That's the real question.
Oh yeah. Like
And so kind of tax proposed would be a good one, but it does mean a lot of them would be. And this is the way you tackle extreme income and wealth inequality. If there are plenty of people out there who are not in favor of more radical solutions, like, worker-owned co-ops or moving to some sort of socialist system or, starting to blur the lines or get away from property rights completely. The way to address this within the confines of the current structure of our system is redistributive policies. And so what you do is you tax the wealthy and you redistribute that to the population through, free college and universal pre-K and...
Oh my God. Are we back on this again? Free college, free childcare, free everything. Oh my God. And you openly admit that it's not free. Someone pays at gunpoint in this case.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Higher weight. To me, at this point, when you look at the extreme income and wealth inequality and how much wealthier billionaires got during the pandemic, how everybody else got screwed, redistributive policies are the position. I mean, we covered a story
thank
from
government for that.
It was, the Rand Corporation found effectively the top 1% or 0.01% has stolen $47 trillion from the bottom 90% since like the 1970s. Incredible. So if we just had the same
You're right,
pay
that is incredible. You're right, Kyle, that is incredible. I do not believe that. You're saying that they stole all that money from the lower classes? Okay. Who was holding a gun to someone else's head? Who was that? I don't think it was Jeff Bezos. Just saying.
Yeah.
Ratio of like a worker to wealthy person. Right now, the bottom 90% would get $1,144 extra every month for the rest of their lives. If we just kept the same disparity we had in like the 1970s. Isn't that crazy? And it's because, look, the labor unions have been absolutely obliterated, and we don't have many people in labor unions anymore. Thankfully, now they're just starting to grow again and just starting to push back and go on the offense as opposed to playing defense. But there really has been an onslaught and a war on labor unions for an extended period of time in this country. And of course, you have corporations who bought the
other than Reagan, like I don't know, not much, but I think the like similar to like the UK, the like labor, like
who's at war with labor unions? So long as it's done voluntarily, I don't have a problem with unions. I don't get what he's saying here.
And so,
yeah, like the unions did that to themselves, like at least in the UK, like, and I guess like with like the government ones.
I can tell
like,
you what the problem here
control.
in the US is. Government got involved. People
yeah.
didn't want to join several different unions because they didn't see any benefit in joining them. So what did some of those unions do? They went crying to government to force people to join. There's your problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our programs have been obliterated. The safety net programs have been obliterated. Unions were struggling. Tax policy benefits the wealthy. And so there is class war going on. It's waged by the 1% on the working people. And so this is an attempt to get back. Now, I tell you all this stuff and give you the specifics of the policy to give you this piece of information now. Manchin has already shot it down.
Based Manchin.
Good. Beast Manchin. Yes, Beast Manchin.
Yeah.
Here we go again. So listen, bottom line is, if you're not going to hold this punk ass accountable, if you're not going to do what needs to be done, which is tell him,
Kyle Kulinski, what do you expect?
If you're not going to be done, which is tell him, look, we have your daughter caught dead to right on email talking about like price gouging people because she worked at a pharma company. Like,
okay.
So you want blackmail?
Blackmail.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah,
blackmail.
Okay, here's the thing. If you want to like prosecute it, that's one thing. But like, if you do blackmail Manchin, then quote unquote,
you yourself are committing a crime.
Yeah, by Kyle's like logic, like they would let go like Manchin's daughter, and she doesn't face like justice. Although actual justice warrior did a video on this, like apparently like it was, the information wasn't true or something, but like I don't know, we'll go, we can watch it again. It was ages since I watched that video. I know that like I'm it was probably last year, because like I made the Taiwan video like after like that like video, and that Taiwan video was like a year ago. Good times, old times. I don't make as many videos anymore as much. I wish I could make more, but like lifetime.
Also, has anyone heard from Connor? I miss Connor. I haven't heard from him.
He's in like the Discord. He messages in the Discord from time to time. I don't think you're that active in the Discord.
No, I'm not all that active in Discord though. I probably should be.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I miss him too. But like, I think he said himself that like politics kind of sucks, and I agree. Like,
oh yes.
But, like,
does suck.
Yeah, like I mean, he says that he's okay with like from a few times like coming on like if I ask him, but like for the most part like he doesn't want to come, and I get it. Like, I mean, I wish he were coming, but like same with Rowan. I wish like both Rowan and like Connor like could like still like stream with us, but like I get it. Like, it's politics. What's your brains?
Okay. Give me a moment.
Oh yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So okay. So yeah. I guess we'll be waiting for Mikail for a bit.
Sorry about
Oh.
that. My roommate just got back, and apparently the brake lights on my car are out again.
Oh fudge. Okay.
Yeah, that's not good.
Okay. Yeah. I guess we have a minute to finish this off. So yeah. I guess we'll just quickly finish this off.
Yeah.
You guys committed crimes and you talked about it. If you're Biden and you're not threatening to prosecute his daughter unless he plays ball now, then there's no hope for you. There's none.
Yay for blackmail.
If you're not going
Yeah.
to threaten Manchin with a public pressure campaign, the likes of which nobody has ever seen before, then you're done. And of course, Biden's not going to do that. He doesn't have that in him. So every now and then he'll propose these decent policies and get them slapped down and then say, I'm sorry, can I please have my stapler now? I'll go back and sit in the corner and do nothing and get landslided by idiot Republicans in the next election.
Oh, well, Kyle's wrong about that. Again, we failed. Ha ha, Kyle, joke's on you. We failed those, I think, incompetent Republicans.
To be fair, a good deal of that is due to people like Mitch McConnell's incompetence, but that is besides the point.
Yeah. You mean stuff like apparently not
okay,
funding
withholding
some
funds from certain people simply because they were of a certain persuasion. Hey, Madam Wiki, don't ban me. MAGA. Those guys. Yeah. Mitch McConnell doesn't like those guys. I mean, just to put it in perspective, he blew, he and the RNC blew I want to say it was $9 million in Alaska, where literally the Republicans could not lose. It was literally a Republican versus a Republican, simply because he wanted to protect Murkowski. I'm dead serious.
This
is the level of stupid we're dealing with.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Maybe that's incompetent, but I don't know. I don't like the MAGA Republicans either. Especially after the election. I mean, I know you don't like democracy, but you don't. That's because you don't like government. I want if you do believe in government and democracy, then you should actually understand the legitimacy of elections and stuff And yeah, that's another thing that hurt Republicans, and also the lack of messaging on a solution to the economy. I think Scuba Steve made a video about Matt Gates talking about the what
yes, that was actually a very good video.
The eliminating the Jones Act. Why did they mention that? That would have been amazing, but they can't because they are the Republican Party is being cudgeled by a MAGA protectionist base. So.
So much weird. Yeah. Anyway, rolling on.
So anyway, that's the Billionaire's tax explained, and looks like it's not going anywhere, which
good
yet again is further evidence of just how government is.
Yeah, good. Wait.
He said it's not going anywhere. Good.
Yeah.
Yet again, is further evidence of just how broken our government is and how weak and pathetic the Democrats are. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West.
Yeah, I guess we're done for
Kyle Kulinski
with the Kyle video.
Kyle.
I think this is a lot of a good practice and a good segue into our European wealth taxes video next week.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and thanks for having me on, dude.
I guess thank you everyone for watching the video for the stream. I guess I see you guys later. I'll have my wealth tax video I'll have my wealth tax video
I'm looking
next
forward
week.
To getting this finished.
It is nearly finished with just problems, but thanks Mikail for coming and
absolutely always a pleasure, man. Live free or die trying.
So I guess I'll end the stream and thanks guys for coming and bye.